for 2 weeks. So we will move on to the rest of the consent agenda. Approve the minutes from the regular session of November 10th, 2020. Number 4, file district court report 10/2020. A, general supplemental fund surcharge, $672.82. Number 5, accept Youth and Shelter Services Foundation Incorporated consolidated financial report for years June 30th, 2019 and 2018. Number 6, approve the claims. Approve claims as audited and authorize the county auditor and recorder to issue payment of the same. The listing of claims paid at this meeting and all claims paid in the month of November will be published as part of the first meeting in December.
Mr. Chairman, I would motion that we approve the consent agenda as printed.
Mr. Chairman, I'll second that.
Moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda as it is printed. Roll call vote.
Patton,
Yes.
Solosik,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Motion passes. Number 7, amendment to the Health Partners Unity Point Summary Plan Description. Discussion and possible action to accept the COVID-19 amendment to the Health Partners Unity Point Health Summary Plan Description for the Marshall County Employees Medical Benefit Plan. The amendment extends the provision of coverage for testing of COVID-19 and the associated provider visit at no cost through the end of the national public health emergency and extends the coverage through December 31, 2020 for the treatment of COVID-19 by a network provider at no cost.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve the amendment to the Health Partners Unity Points Summary Plan Description.
Mr. Chairman, I will second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the amendment to the Health Partners Unity Point Summary Plan Description. Is there any discussion in this matter?
This is the second or third time we've extended this.
Yes, we just are extending it through the end of the year, which is still the date that the federal government's using.
Okay.
CDC, everything.
Is there a way we can
It's-
go beyond that?
It's
so that
not,
we're-
nothing's been extended past that date yet, which I'm still kind of surprised about. I mean, we're already sitting here at the end of November.
Maybe they know something we don't.
I don't know.
34 million people down in a month.
I think they got a vaccine that's a spray and they're going to helicopter it.
You guys be about the way to do it in a month.
All right. A little levity here.
So I get to call it an airstrike?
No.
Elevation azimuth
Too
grid?
much levity now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there any other discussion?
You guys just won't let me have any fun.
Is there any other discussion? Roll call vote.
Patton,
Yes.
Solosik.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Motion passes. Amendment to the Health Partners Unity Point Summary Plan Description. Discussion and possible action to accept the amendment to the Health Partners Unity Point Health Summary Plan Description for the Marshall County Employee Medical Benefit Plan. This amendment will affect out-of-network services only and removes all references to care check, pre-certification, and pre-service claims.
Mr. Chairman, I would motion to approve the amendment to the Health Partners Unity Point Summary Plan Description.
Mr. Chairman, I'd second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the amendment to the Health Partners Unity Point Summary Plan Description.
And one is for in-network and one is for out.
Any other discussion? Roll call vote.
Patton,
Yes.
Solosik.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Motion passes. Number 9, warrants outstanding for over 1 year. Pursuant to section 331.554 subsection 7, Code of Iowa, warrants outstanding for more than 1/2 for 1 year shall be canceled by the auditor, and the amount of the warrants shall be credited to the fund upon which the warrants were drawn. Said warrants are as follows. Do you want me to read this, or can we see what we're looking at here?
Two of them I know what it is. I have no recollection of the Zello one.
Zello is the
Radio app.
radio.
Oh, really? Okay.
So they've never cashed the check paying for our radio app.
No. Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the county auditor and recorder to cancel these warrants.
Mr. Chairman, I will second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the county auditor recorder to cancel these warrants. Any other discussion? Roll call vote.
Patton,
Yes.
Solosik,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Okay, now, Nan, if they come in day after tomorrow and say, hey, we saw this on the minutes, you gonna help them out? Okay.
Thank you. Number 10, request for special use permit. Discussion and possible action to approve the Marshall County Zoning Commission's approval of number SU-2020-03. On Tuesday, November 17th, the Marshall County Zoning Commission met and approved request number SU-2020-03 by Brad and Marcy Nichols, legal owners of the land under request, which is described as 17-84-19, parcel D in southeast, northwest, PIN number 8419-17-100-010. The request was to grant a special permit to split the house from farm ground. The Nichols are refinancing their home, and currently there is a grain bin located on parcel which the bank won't allow. There have been too many splits in this section to allow another split. This would be a special use not normally allowed under Article 3, Section 3 of the Marshall County Zoning Ordinance number 10. Section 3, subdivision plat required. A subdivision plat shall be made when a parcel of land of record as of January 1, 2005, located in the unincorporated portion of the county is divided by repeated divisions or simultaneous divisions into 3 or more parcels. January 1st, 2005 shall be known as the subdivision trigger date. The subdivision trigger date shall be revised to be January 1 of every 10th year following the initial trigger date of January 1, 2005. The Marshall County Zoning Commission approved the request on a 3-0 vote.
Mr. Chairman, I would motion that we approve special use permit number SU-2020-03.
And Mr. Chairman, I second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the special use permit number SU-2020-03.
I think we need to put this on, not this particular one, but splitting farm ground. I think we need to take a look at that. I think it's too harsh.
Too restrictive.
I agree.
And nobody cares. The farmer owns it. If he wants to split it and give 20 acres to his son, that's his land. I think we need to take a look at this, and of course we're going to have to work with the committee too, or the commission. But I think that's just my thought. Every time something comes up like this, it bothers me.
Is this ruling by county by county?
Yes.
Okay.
And the other counties are much more lenient. Yeah. They say, hey, that's your business. Go do it. So now, if they would take off 2 acres of ground and build something that was, a nuclear reactor or something like that, we might be concerned. But other than that, Callie, that's we're stepping into the farmer's field here.
Is there any other discussion on this matter?
This is Todd. Can I interject something?
Absolutely. Todd?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. He can't hear us.
We can hear you, Todd.
Okay. The zoning commission has asked to meet again in December just to address this issue, so they are aware. And if you guys are on board with it, I will definitely give them what your thoughts are too.
Very good.
Thank you. All right. Roll call vote.
Patton,
Yes.
Solosik,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Motion passes. Number 11, discussion, radio project update. I will start with this. You asked me to look into things here this last 2 weeks, and I did. I had a little more conversation with Diana Richardson. We felt like we needed more information. I asked Brad Fonts to be a part of a conversation with our attorney down in Des Moines, and I needed his expertise on this. This is beyond me. This is more than I can deal with. So I guess, Brad, are you here with us this morning?
I am. Is my audio coming through okay?
It's coming, you're very clear, yes. Do you want to share what what was told us here on Thursday or Friday of last week?
Sure. I'll provide a little background too, why I reached out to Chairman Solosik. After the I think it was the November 10th meeting, the legal opinion of Ms. Christine Stone from Allers and Cooney was shared with everyone. There are a couple of things that just kind of jumped out at me that made me think that maybe she didn't have the full picture of the scope of the project. Mostly because so many of these projects throughout the state have been done in the exact manner that we were looking to do. So I wanted to make sure, I guess, that she had all the information to make the most informed decision she could and give us the right legal direction to make sure everything was on the up and up. The one that was most concerning to me was that the civils portion of the proposal be broken out. And the reason that was concerning was because that was going to cost us a lot of time and a lot of money that neither of which we have. The breaking out the civils is much more in depth than us just throwing together an RFP and getting some concrete guys and dirt work guys and electrical crews together to do the work. We, as a county, to take on that civils portion would have had to hire a consultant because we don't have anyone in the county with the knowledge or expertise to coordinate that. We would have had to hire a civil engineer as well to coordinate the design aspect of it. I spoke with Washington County, who did this just a couple years ago, and they had 6 sites. They were a larger county when it came to towers being constructed, but their consultant and engineering fees were in the neighborhood of $300,000 to $400,000. They did hire a consultant initially, and the counties that have used consultants did so because they hired that individual initially to do an analysis of their communication system. And many times to tell them what they already knew, that it was failing. We did not need to do that. We already had half of a system already built, as everyone knows, and we're looking at a sole source project, and that we're adding on to existing. So we were not starting from ground zero like everyone else, hence the reason we did not go down the consultant path initially. When we look at civils, as I mentioned, it's much more difficult and more comprehensive than just bidding for the construction. We would inherit the responsibility to take a look at everything that Raycom was essentially doing for us. That is looking at FAA flight paths. That's working with the state historical preservation office to make sure that the tower isn't being constructed on some burial ground that would create problems. Constructing the tower itself, the tower lighting, the concrete work for the generators, the LP tanks, etc. Any other site prep, road access, everything that would have to do with construction that would be on us as a county to do. So that was going to cost us time to, one, find a consultant and then work out that individual's terms of service, pay rate, etc. And it's time that we don't have. The other concern from Ms. Stone was the conflict of interest between Mike Miller, who is the CEO and president of Raycom, and his wife, Jennifer, who is our county attorney. And Ms. Stone, in her letter, basically addressed that one, and I confirmed with her, laid out the premise for how we got to where we are, and she concurred that we would not be in violation. State code says that anytime there is a relationship, basically there's certain steps that we have to go through. However, there are 2 exceptions to that it doesn't come into play. And one of them is where the contracts in which a county officer or employee has an interest solely by reason of employment. And then if the remuneration of employment will not be directly affected, and the duties of the employment did not directly involve the procurement or preparation of the contract. So with Jennifer's regard, we can check both of those boxes. Her salary is not going to be impacted whether Raycom is awarded this contract or not. And I can certify and that she did not have any involvement with the preparation or procurement of the contract. Ms. Stone further said down the letter that with regards to Mr. Miller on the Raycom side, as long as his pay will not be impacted and he had no involvement in the procurement or preparation, we would not be, this contract would not be prohibited by Iowa law. And I can guarantee that he had no involvement for this very reason. As you all know, our contact with Raycom has been Diana Richardson, the business development manager. Her direct report is Terry Brennan, the vice president of Raycom. And those are the two entities or individuals who've been working on this project with us. Mike has not been involved, again, in the procurement or the preparation. And in sharing that with Ms. Stone, she agreed that we have no conflict. When it comes to the public bidding component, again, as I mentioned, many of these contracts have been awarded in the exact manner that we were doing it. So I wanted to make sure that she had a full understanding of how the process was going to work. And what maybe wasn't exactly spelled out possibly in the original proposal that she reviewed was that the plan was, is, and always has been that the actual construction would be done by outside contractors and bids would be let for that. Mostly because Raycom doesn't have the resources. They don't have bulldozers to move dirt. They don't have concrete trucks. They do not have cranes to build a tower. They do not have boring machines to install their electrical. So that work was going to be farmed out, as it always is in their projects and with ours as well. In letting Ms. Stone know that, once we explained that, she said, as long as we continue to follow state code with bidding, normal bidding process where we're looking at performance bonds of the contractors, low bid, and we have a certified engineer sign off on the specs and plans, then again, we can proceed as originally proposed. I did confirm, which I already knew, but I did confirm again with Raycom that the civil engineering firm they will use will be able to meet that requirement that is in state code. So our conversation went very well. It was very promising, and I was pleased that she reached the conclusion that she did after having all the information, because this saves us a lot of time. Had we tackled that on our own, we would have delayed this even longer. So with those two items resolved, we can go back to the original proposal that was sent back in, I think it was June or July, and everything is basically good to go from that standpoint. Saves a lot of work and time on the county side, and we can proceed and get this project going. I guess that was my interpretation. Again, it was Chairman Slosik and I on the call. I don't know, Steve, if you have anything to add to that. Did I leave anything out?
No, I don't believe so. Thanks for sharing this, taking the time to do this. We now have two proposals, two contracts in front of us at this point that we can choose from. So the second contract came in, I guess the basic difference is taking out everything that we were originally going to take out. It gets at the payments a little under $300,000 as opposed to about $450,000 on the first contract that they put together. So that being said,
I'd like this from our attorney,
Yeah, I was gonna say, can we get a letter
not just chief funds.
from, versus your phone call?
Sure,
Can we have
exactly.
Kristen do a letter, a follow-up letter?
With some sort of explanation as to why she's reversed her course also.
I don't know if she's reversed her.
Not necessarily reversed, but altered.
Okay, I think we just gave her more information, but again,
Okay.
we'll get a letter from her then and explaining why the change.
Yeah, there really wasn't a.
Go ahead, Dave.
Within due diligence, we're going to need it from her.
Yep. All right, I'll take care of that today.
Do you want to reach out to her? I was gonna
Absolutely.
say, yeah, I can reach out to her too. So yeah, shoot her an email and tell her we just need another letter.
All right. All right, sounds good.
I'm curious on these towers, maybe one of you know, aren't the towers pre-engineered? And then the specs are set for the ground and they set them up just like they set up a Morton building?
I would assume so, yes.
That makes a difference too. So I'm just curious about it.
Yeah. I guess that would be a question for Diana.
So if these things are gonna go out to bid to different contractors through Raycom, is there a possibility that our prices may be less on this contract then?
I don't think it would be any different than what they originally had thrown at us.
I can speak to that, Steve.
Okay.
Okay, so the $895,000 figure that was the civil's line item in that original proposal. Those are estimates based on what Raycom thinks the contractors will bid. And I asked them how they came up with that figure, and they said they have done enough of these that they know pretty much exactly what those contractors, where those bids are going to fall. There's very little variability in that, whether they let those bids or the county does. In Iowa County, for example, the Board of Supervisors and radio committee down there asked Raycom to give their local contractors a chance, which they did. I mean, the bids are open for public bidding, and any contractor can submit a bid for that work. And they asked Raycom, to be fair, give their local contractors a chance, and they did. So we could do that in this case as well. Try to give the local contractors a shot, and if it's low bid and they can do the work, then we can move on. But that 895, I don't think we're going to find, as a county, we're going to be able to bid it any less, because they're going to do the same thing we are doing. And when one difference in that new proposal is that there is a management fee included in that for Raycom to basically oversee the work that's being done, so it does meet specs and requirements for their equipment. And if we do it, again, we would have the additional cost of hiring a consultant.
So what is our next step then? What do we,
Till we receive something from the attorney, nothing.
okay. Is there any other research that you
Not
want
that I can,
done?
not that I can think of, unless Bill has something.
I don't think so.
All right.
We got to go back and look at these. In other words, the last two that Diana sent us, then we won't need them if we work through Raycom.
Right.
We'll go back and,
We'd go back and use the June, July
yeah.
contract for the pricing and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many trees I've killed printing these off.
I know, just the last two.
We're gonna need a new county forest.
Well over 100 pages.
I got 3 different stacks on my desk now on this. I'd like to get it to one.
I understand.
Okay,
With that being said, then, we have to go on and I guess we should at least acknowledge, is there a way that we can fund this? How can we fund this at this point? Has there been any more thought put into that?
Well, after yesterday, we've had a little bit of change. But I want to get everybody's signatures on that dotted line first from what we settled yesterday.
All right. Are you thinking, well, I know this is not a popular thing, but do we need to consider an essential purpose bond then at this time, or do you think we have
It's too early to give you that answer.
other avenues? All right.
Once we see a payment schedule, a deposit schedule, and we get our other answers of what we concluded yesterday, I'll have a much better idea.
yeah.
All
For
right.
the people who are listening, we were working on insurance payments on this project we got here.
The mediation meeting on the
Yeah.
code.
Yeah. we do have a tentative agreement with the insurance company on our mediation. I think there's a couple more small details to be worked out. But after that, I'm much more comfortable than I was earlier.
Okay. All right, very good. There's really no decisions we can make then today. All right, very good. Brad, I appreciate you taking the time to do what you did here for us. This is well beyond my scope of understanding, and you explain it to us in a way that we can understand it. So thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, I'm at your service. I mean, I want to see this done. Yesterday was 11 months since it was first proposed to the board, and it's been a long road. I'll give just a little tidbit of information. Last week, as many people know, we had a very large fire in Marshalltown, a very large fire on the east side of town, 18th Ave. There were 8, I believe, maybe 9 departments in the county that responded in there to help Marshalltown, very similar to the tornado several years ago. And out of those 30 to 40 volunteers who were on scene battling that fire, only one could talk to the command post in Chief Cross because our communication systems do not work together. And that creates a very serious safety issue for the volunteers that receive no pay. So the sooner we can get this done, the better. So again, I'm at your service. Whatever you need from me, I'm more than willing to help to see this through.
Thanks again, Brad. All right, if I can find my agenda.
Number 12.
Thank you, Lisa. Number 12, discussion, approvals of new hires prior to the recruitment process versus the end of the process. Would you like to?
Yeah, I'll speak to this. This is something that Dave had mentioned when we were starting the budget processes, we've got the meetings set up and getting that determined. But one of the things that came up here I talked to Pat White last week, is they have a very extensive process. They've got several openings there. And one of the things that he said is, it'd be nice to, when you pick your person, to just be able to move them right into training and get going if they're not currently working. And it just kind of clicked when Dave said, why don't we approve it up?
Well, we can't approve the person, but we can approve the position.
Right. And what difference does it make? You're approving the position and the money. The who would come on a form later, and we'd know what date that it was approved through the board. Now, most of the time people have, there's a lot of times people have to give 2 weeks, 3 weeks notice, something like that, before the official offer, and it works out okay. But I think Pat's finding that several of the folks he's working with, that's not the case. I gave him the option of also, we could have a special meeting whenever he needs to get these people on so he can get going, because I know they're very short-staffed there in the jail.
I think there are several positions, you having one, Steve having some, Steve Hoffman, that need to be trained as soon as you can start. There's a lot of other positions that I don't want this sliding over there and doing that on them. They've been training on the job forever. And I don't want to see this be a normal situation for every job that ever comes out.
Okay, so you always want to approve at the end then?
I think so.
I think so also. And, we've made exceptions before when it has come up where we've allowed the hiring of an individual before somebody else left. As long as it was within either that department head's budget or the elected official's budget, so that they can have that overlap of an individual retiring to be able to work with the individual that's coming in to take their place, to have that time frame of working together.
Yeah, I was just going with
Yeah.
what your request was and that you wanted to do it at the beginning of the process instead of the end. And so that's,
Okay,
and it's just, I thought it was a good discussion to see if that's, I think a special meeting for most of his will work too. That'll be fine. I just thought just a change in philosophy, and it's something you can think on. There's no action item on this anyway. It's just something to kind of think on. And
Well, I don't want to get into micromanaging because you're the one who has to decide who is the person that you want in that position.
yes, but does it make sense for me to be recruiting, go through the entire process? I verbally offered you a job subject to board approval. By the time it gets to you all, it's a done deal. So just,
Well, you were talking about training for like a month or 6 weeks, weren't you?
for my position, it's months. We're talking 6
Nan, this
months.
is Pat. If I could jump in here just real quick.
Absolutely.
Steve's on the call also.
Okay. My side of it is when I get somebody through all of the physical fitness testing, the polygraph, the MMPI, a lot of times what I run into problems is I may be ready for this person to be hired, but then I have to maybe wait 2 weeks before board approval to get them started. And so I'm losing a couple weeks of training. And like she said, I've got three openings now. I'm going to have a fourth one by the end of the year, and then I have one individual deployed. So I've got basically 5 spots open. So we were just trying to look at a way though where we could maybe streamline things and get it moving a little quicker, because it's 8 to 10 weeks that they have to train, and just as soon as somebody gives me their 2-week notice and says I'm done, the recruiting process, the polygraph, the psychological testing, the physical with the doctor, that all takes so much time. So it's not like you can just put somebody in that place and get them working. You're going to have that gap for several weeks, maybe even months before you get somebody actually where they're on their own and can fill that position.
I personally have no problem having a special session, which we give 24-hour notice.
Okay.
Anytime you have an instance like this.
No, I don't either.
I mean, I hate to change policy when we can literally react within 1 day.
Well, that sounds like a workable solution. I would point out that earlier in my career, at the time that I was still the jail administrator, the policy and practice at the point of time was still with the hiring form that we have. You'll notice that it has the tentative approval on it. That was the official hiring document at the time, since the office holders had the appropriated number strength of employees, and then it was just a matter of formality to work through the board for that. And I don't remember when or why that changed, but the suggestion that we'd had around here was to just go back to the way that it used to be. But I appreciate the offer for the special sessions.
We need to talk slower. Is that what you're saying?
A lot of information there.
Special session's okay. There.
Yes.
In reality, it's really 2 days, isn't it,
Yeah.
to do a special
24-hour
session?
notice.
24-hour notice.
Yeah,
So,
if we know first thing, so if Pat contacts Lisa in an afternoon, maybe it's probably a day and a half in reality.
And we can do them by Zoom. If Bill can't, or for some reason chooses not to come in, or one of us is gone and is somewhere else.
You can zoom
In
in.
today's day and age with Zoom, I mean, it's just a no-brainer doing a special
It
session.
works. Yeah.
It works for me.
Yeah.
I can change my plans as a moment's
Yep.
notice, so.
I prefer to keep it that way.
Okay,
Okay.
awesome.
Thank you.
All right. Number 13, discussion of the current COVID-19 situation.
We've all know the numbers are high. I know there's been some, the bank closed last week after our update meeting. Right at the end of that, I got the email that said they're going back to closed. We're open at our north door. They were open on their east door, so it made it nice that we each kind of had our own entrance. Lucas and I kind of discussed closing and options. We would probably have to go back to appointments then for my office, and that means my staff walking up and down the stairs with people. And I just want you to know I prefer staying open because my staff is then behind the plexiglass where I feel like they're safer, at least the way things are now.
I understand. Yeah.
That walking, when they were walking up and down and you're walking to the door, I've seen other departments actually walking out to vehicles to help meet with people. And it just seems like a big safety concern, not only for COVID, but for just physical safety. Things can happen when you're out next to a van in a parking lot. So
I'd rather our employees were inside the building.
yeah, it didn't make me super
No,
comfortable.
Safety wise,
Yes.
I would really,
Yeah,
not
I mean,
like that.
you could get hit, there's just a whole long list of
we
things.
don't even want to think of what
No,
could happen.
No,
Is it worth then, maybe increasing our cleaning schedule?
we could look at
and
that.
Sanitizing, if we're gonna do that, can we, ramp that up a little bit?
I know
for some of
that
the common areas?
The treasurer's office, assessor's office, and my office is cleaning their counters multiple times a day. Jarrett's wiping down the stairs, and my staff has been wiping down the stair. As people are coming up and down on that railing, they're wiping that down multiple times a day as well.
That makes me feel better.
So those types of things are happening. We're hearing a lot more that this is more an airborne, that the contact isn't as big a deal, but still just having those extra wipe downs just seems like a good idea.
We still need to sanitize. And
We
wash
still need to,
hands, but-
yeah, washing hands and sanitizing is still important. The other thing is I did get today an email from someone talking about employers, the vaccine, we're all hearing that on the news. And, our insurance will be providing information on how that gets rolled out. We may hear it on the news before then, but, just kind of talking about being proponents of the vaccine was what, it's probably not for everybody. There's always going to be somebody that's got allergies or something to that type of thing. But, as a general kind of feeling is that, we're hoping that folks do get immunized.
Yeah.
Do we have in our supply any face shields?
Yes.
Okay. I might want to try one of those.
Okay. I've got a couple different
Because
options.
I tell you what, when I put a mask on, it's not 5 minutes and I feel like I got somebody standing on my chest.
I've got
I
it
really
also
struggle
a
breathing.
half plastic face mask that the clerk of court's office, one of my staff's seen them wearing them. So we got some of those, which is another option to try. So I've got a couple different options for you.
Because the mask is just, it does not work for me.
There's a lot of people like that.
Can't tell you why, but it's just like somebody's stomping on my chest.
So just wanted to share that.
Have you heard anything about the possibility of Marshall County having to provide that ultra cold storage, like 80 below zero?
They're doing additional dry ice manufacturing. And one of the byproducts off of the ethanol plant in Nevada is dry ice production.
Really?
So since
That's
the production's back up,
Yeah.
and so there's places, and I seen a thing on the news really talking about ramping up the dry ice production for that.
Yeah, see, all I've seen
And
is
there-
what's on.
Yeah, and there is also some of the vaccine, the first one that was approved is not super cool. So they're hoping that they can get that out first. And then with the super cooled, only putting that out to certain areas. They've already done the surveys to see who had super cool capacity. So yeah, so they're working on that. But yeah, thank goodness the one that's coming out first is not super cooled. So we have a little time.
Okay.
I just wanted to give you guys an update on secondary roads with the new recommendations. I'm requiring masks in all vehicles with more than one person in them. Masks mandatory. And then the only other issue would be any indoor stuff that we do. And anytime someone has to work within 6 feet of another person, they have to mask up in there too.
I've done the same thing. If my employees are not behind their plexiglass in their area, they are to have a mask on, even when they're behind the plexi. Because we could have multiple employees up at the plexi meeting with a customer. Jared added plexi, Lucas cut it for in between each universal clerk. So we now have plexi up in between all of those folks as well. So the people sitting at your desk, you're safe. It's just you in that space.
That's good.
So he moved another desk around kind of in the back to get people over 6 foot apart. So kind of made a few more adjustments as we keep learning things. And
you know, if you and Todd are in the office together and you feel that's too tight, go use my workstation.
I was just gonna tell you, we both wear our masks.
Okay.
We have them for quite a while.
Because either one of you, that spray bottle's right next to my keyboard. And it's supposed to kill everything.
Yeah, thank you for the offer though. Yeah, it seems to be working. And he's only there half a day, you know, so, yep.
Because I'm never in there when
Yep.
Todd is here in the afternoons, and I do most of my stuff remotely or early in the morning.
Yep.
Any other discussion then on the latest with COVID? Okay. All right. Well, we will move on.
That goes for you too. I don't care who uses my workstation.
we've been on all 3
I
of
know.
yours. And we wipe them down when we're done.
Yeah, because I see someone else's name on my computer.
I usually,
And that's fine.
Yeah.
You know, I've used yours in the past.
well, I don't have one over there anymore, so.
I know.
But yeah, you do. You have to use other people's space if somebody is having a meeting in there.
It's what it is.
Yeah, it works.
Adapt and overcome.
Yeah, and that's why, we try to have those wipes are kind of out everywhere. We did find, we had some of those containers sitting out on that table as you come up the stairs, and they were walking away.
Oh, they were?
Yeah.
Oh, the masks?
The masks and the wipes. So you might have to ask, like behind the treasurer's counter and behind our counter. I know Lisa's got some. There's wipes and stuff everywhere. But if there isn't any in your room, just ask, because we had them out and they just disappeared.
Somebody needed them worse than we did.
I guess they
There we go.
did.
There
So
we go.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. I'm going to move on to public forum. Okay. It's a time set aside for the public to make comments on topics of county business other than those listed on this agenda. No action will be taken on any of these topics brought up in the public forum. Who would like to speak?
I could give a short courthouse update.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
We have approvals for all of the interior work now. I mean, the code portion being aside, not completely settled, but we have approvals for all of the storm damage on the interior of the courthouse. We met with our general contractor this morning and started to make the plan on sequencing and how we will get things going and work around the people that are still in the courthouse and move the project along as quick as we can. We're hoping to start demo here probably after Thanksgiving. So the interior is moving.
Good.
Which is nice. We will do the east half of the first floor, and all of the second floor will be step 1 in sequencing. That will allow everyone that is still in the courthouse to move into their permanent home. And then the rest of the building will just be free game to go.
Great plan.
But yesterday was a huge step for us.
It was. We, knowing just our responsibility in that aspect is a big weight lifted.
It is, truly.
I still want to make sure we keep using the word, we have a tentative agreement with the
Yes.
insurance company.
And people have to understand, that's one of the basic reason why things haven't been moving along. You have to work with the insurance company. And we have some difficulties. So we think we got them settled.
Yes, we do. All right. I'd say I'm 95% sure
Yeah,
we've got this whipped.
we got them on tape anyway.
We sure do.
Paul, it looks like you're still with us.
Yes.
Do you have all of the part-time people you need for snow removal and you're ready to go into the winter full force?
Absolutely not. We have no part-time plow drivers.
You have no part-time drivers?
No, we've hired all of our part-time plow drivers for full-time. So it's potentially a disaster if we have a COVID problem with our drivers. We may have to have people quarantining in their truck cabs.
They're quarantining as long as they're feeling fine. And they don't go anywhere to get gas, they'd have to get gas and things, and we'd have to determine some sort of a wipe down schedule, but they're not with anybody.
I read in the paper that South Dakota, even the healthcare workers that are asymptomatic and have tested positive
They're still working.
are able to work because they're working with people that have COVID.
They are here too.
That's the same as Iowa too. They just send them back as long as they're asymptomatic and they're masking up and doing their PPE.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, good luck, Paul. Just make sure my road stays clear. That's the only thing that I care about.
Yeah, you can plow Bill's in, but leave yours clear.
It's all about me, Paul. So.
I wish I could say hope wasn't our primary strategy, but for quite a while, that's what it's been.
We'll send somebody your way if we come up with someone.
Yep.
Anything else for the public? If not, we're going to adjourn. The next regular session is December 8th, 2020 at 9:05 a.m. All business to be acted upon at that session should be submitted to the County Auditor and Recorder's Office or the Board of Supervisors Office by Thursday, December 3rd, 2020 at 1:00 p.m. There being no further business to come before the board, the meeting is adjourned at 10:00.
Wow.
Ding, ding, ding.
a.m. Thank you all.